Hey everyone, welcome to video number 2 for God's Inclusive Love Ministries. Alright, again, I am Shan. I guess I'm the pastor. I'm the shepherd for God's flock for our ministry. I know I said a little bit of this in the last video, but I was called to preach at a very young age. I, of course, ran from that calling for many years, and here I am. Like I said before, I believe that God called, God knew that I was going to run because, like we said, you know, God knows everything. God knows our heart. God knows our mind. God knows God knows everything before we know it. But He knew I was going to run, and He knew that it would be a learning experience for me. And here I am now. And like I said before, I believe that He called me for such a time as this. I don't believe that I was supposed to be, you know, in the ministry before today. Because, like I said, I believe that God's raising up a new generation of pastors, because the things that people are doing right now and a lot of churches are doing right now are terribly failing people and running people away from God instead of to God. Our focus is to preach the love of God and not constant fire and brimstone and bitterness and hatefulness, and that you're going to go to hell for everything in the entire world. Like I've said before, the Bible was written by man. Things were taken away from and added to the Bible, and kind of perverted because of the things that man wanted to put in there. Read about it, look back on things, and see the way that the Bible was changed and added to and taken away from. I'll leave that up to you guys. It's pretty easy to find if you go on any search engine. For example, a big example, the King James Version of the Bible. Look at that up for sure. I don't know how loud this gospel music is that I have on in the background. I hope it's not drowning me out. So I am from a little town in Georgia. I definitely, for the most part, feel like that little city kind of failed me in a way because of the way that I was treated for things. But that's because of, you know, the way that a lot of people are brainwashed in some churches. And you know, that's okay. They have to answer for that one day, whenever they would come in front of God. As we all have to answer for our transgressions. I'll have to answer for mine, you'll have to answer for yours. That's the way that it goes. Like I said, in our ministry, we 100% definitely believe in the 10 Commandments, because those commandments were given directly to us from God. But, you know, some of the other things that we read now, or even just some of the other things that we see in the Bible, we really have to live by our own convictions. We have to live our own convictions and certain things. Like I said before, one thing that one person may feel like is a sin to them may not feel like a sin to us. So we all have to really, we have to live our own convictions, and because we are going to be the ones that are standing in front of God one day. Some of these people that are pastors right now, or these, you know, big hardcore Christians and stuff, and are going to stand in front of God one day and be very surprised in the outcome of that conversation with the Lord. You know, that's all I'm going to say about that. It says, that the greatest commandment of all is to love your neighbor. We have to love our neighbor and our brothers and sisters. Our neighbor basically means everyone, not just our next door neighbor. Our brother and sister means everyone, not just our blood brother and sister. It literally means everyone. Like in the Bible, whenever it talks about man, a lot of times that doesn't only include man, it actually includes women as well as everyone else. It includes everyone. Hold on a minute, let me turn the light on a little bit, because it's getting a little bit dark in here. Woo! Woo! Look at that. Man, that's bright. Some of the things I went through, I'll go over some of the things that I went through as a child and growing up. I really had a mother that did the best that she could do by us. She really did. She really did the best she could. She tried to make sure we were always taken care of and definitely loved. There was a time in her life whenever, she was involved in a church that was very, very religious, and that religion got the best of her. But, she was going by what she thought was right. And, a lot of people are in that. A lot of people, you hear something from a preacher or you hear something through a church and you take that word to heart. And that's what she did. And I can't blame her for some of the things that, happened during that time, because she was doing what she thought was best. And I know that, as an adult. But she came out of that and she opened her mind and she opened her eyes to really what was really going on then. And her entire thought process has changed in things. And, God has revealed things to her that she wasn't allowed to even think about back in those days, whenever she was involved in that religiousness of that church. And now she's definitely, it's a massive change. I love the person that she is today. My mom is my absolute best friend. Between her and Nick, they're my best friends. My mom is my biggest supporter in this ministry thing because she understands, Nick is definitely, he's like I would say second biggest supporter. He might disagree with that, but Nick was definitely raised in a different way than what I was raised in church, and doesn't really understand all of this stuff that's happening. He's definitely opened his mind to understand it and definitely welcoming of it. But he's still learning, as we're always learning. We always will be for our entire lives. But back to my mom. My mom is my absolute biggest supporter. She is my spiritual covering. She has me covered in all that I do, especially all that I do in the Lord. She always, I call her or text her all the time if I'm ever down or bothered by things or anything else. I probably annoy the crap out of her. But she always has me covered in prayer all the time, and I'm so grateful for that. The person that people knew a few years back is not the person that is there today. She is not that same person, and I know that some people may have some preconceived thoughts of her and some, old memories, or maybe where they feel like maybe she failed them in some way or something that they thought that she should have been differently or done differently. But as I've said, we are all human. We all make mistakes, and she is not that person today. I would strongly recommend some of the people that know her that have stepped away from her or pushed her out of their lives to really contact her and try to reconnect with her, because who she is today is an absolutely amazing human being. I know it sounds like I'm really harping on this, but she really is a really wonderful person, and she really is my very best friend, and I'm so grateful for her. I'm so grateful for her love and her covering of me all the time, because there's no one else in this world that has me covered the way that she does, or ever will. I have a little list written down over here, showing me some of the things to cover. So yeah, some of the things I went through as a child. I definitely went through abuse in some ways, not by my mother. I want to make that clear. She never abused us. Did not abuse us. but there were other situations and people in our lives and our family that did things that were not good things. We definitely went through physical, mental, and myself, I can speak for myself, I went through some sexual abuse. This is not up for this isn't a guessing game. This isn't up for something that you should sit there and try to guess on who did it, because I will never tell you. It doesn't matter. It happened. That person knows that it happened, and I feel like they really feel bad about it and they feel sorry for it. A lot of our situations that we go through in life are because the person that did it to us went through the same thing. It happened to them, and somewhere in their mind they felt like that was normal or okay because it's something that they went through as well, and the damage that they went through in their lives. Like I've said before, we are all a product of someone else's damage. They are a product of the person's damage before them, and so on and so on and so on and so on. We are all damaged in some way. We are all scarred in some way from someone else's scars. To me, that's why it's so important to teach the love of God and the acceptance of God. God knows, because He created us, that we are all damaged people. That God knows that we are all damaged by someone else's damage and their damage and their damage, and on and on and on and on and on. God knows that. And He understands that. He created us, you know. Just like God knows that we are an ever-changing people. This is why He wants the church to change in the way that they teach us things. God is always the same, always and forever, but He knows that us as human beings constantly change. We always are evolving into something else and some other mindset, you know. And He doesn't expect the people, an entire group of people throughout the entire world, the billions upon billions upon billions and billions of people that we have in this world, to all come into the same mindset. He expects the church to change in the way that they teach us things, in the way that they show us things, in the way they preach us things. And if pastors will listen to what God is telling them and listen to the Lord, they will hear that and they will know that. And it is up to them to take heed to that, because they are the ones that are leading the flock. The flock are the followers of Christ. The flock are the people that God is. I mean, it's everyone. All the children of God. We're the flock, but they're also basically what I call the shepherds. The shepherds are the pastors or the ministers that are leading that flock to God, and God is the master. God is our master, for sure. God is the all-powerful. God is the leader and ruler of everything. Anyway, so yeah. I get off subject and topic all the time, but I think that a lot of people do. These videos have become more smooth lately. They may not. I don't know. I was going to put out a video on Wednesday, but I just have kind of felt a little discouraged lately, and, you know, I guess I let my flesh get to me. I don't know why we as humans sometimes depend on other human beings to make us feel, I guess, acceptance or whatever in things. I guess I was a little bummed because the first video that I put out didn't really seem to attract a lot of attention. One person said anything about it, and that was my mother. But I got no feedback from anyone else. I realized that human beings, our attention span is, as short as this right here. And when you put out a 30-something minute video, that people don't have time because, it's not some drama or some junk or some gossip news or whatever, or viciousness that is out there. And so they don't have time to pay attention to that. I've noticed it's so strange to me because I've caught myself doing it sometimes too. We will pay way more attention to negative things than we will good things. If there's a 30-something minute long negative video of crazy crap that's going on, we will pay attention to that before we will pay attention to a video that is something that will uplift us or glorify the Lord in some way. And it's crazy. Why are we like that? You know, I always ask the Lord those kind of questions. Why are we like this? Why am I like this, God? Change me. It's always my thing. Back to my childhood. So I definitely didn't have a happy childhood. I definitely was depressed a lot. And I've been depressed, I think, most of my life, really. It's always been a constant battle with me. Depression has always been a constant battle. Starting in probably middle school is whenever I became, started thinking about suicide. And I started thinking about, how can I kill myself, or how can I guess even give up and just die and just not wake up again, so that I can escape the constant torment, mental and, from people, torment that I was going through in my life. How can I die and escape this? And the only thing that really stopped me from that was not the fact that I didn't want to do it. The only thing that stopped me from that was the thought of going to hell, because that's the way that I was taught, throughout my childhood was, if you kill yourself, you're going to go to hell. That's the way I was taught. And that was what stopped me, was the fear of going to hell over it. I'm of course glad that I didn't kill myself, and I absolutely, if anyone ever feels thoughts of suicide, definitely reach out to someone. And there's also, a national suicide hotline that I want to include at the end of this video for anyone that is feeling suicidal. I also might splice it in somewhere in here. But I am definitely glad I came out of that. But it was hard. It was hard growing up in a small town where it seemed like everyone was against you. I growing up didn't have any friends that I ever went and spent the night with, or came and spent the night with me. And honestly, most of my family members, they just didn't want me around. My sister and brother, they went and spent the night with cousins or, other relatives or whatever. But me, it's always by myself. It's always me. And you know what? That's okay, because it gave me a lot of time with myself and a lot of time in my mind and my thoughts to think differently about things than my siblings do even. It really made me, I think, into the person that I am, to be able to relate to people that, feel alone or feel sadness and depression and things like that. It was hard, but I always thought in my mind, I did always hold on to that thought, though, always held on to that thought that things will get better. And things absolutely got better. They absolutely did, especially after I got out of that hometown that I was living in. After I got out of there, things were different. Hey Google, turn the volume down to 10%, please. That music was a little bit loud. And I definitely encourage everyone that may be going through that, any young person that may watch this, or even a grown person that may watch this, to know and to realize that things will get better. Pray about it, for one thing. Talk to God about it, and ask Him to put people in your life that can hold you up and build you up. And sometimes what we need is someone to hold us up, to literally hold us up, or figuratively hold us up, mentally, emotionally, and just when we're not strong, we need someone there. And I really encourage everyone that is watching this to please be the person that holds others up and encourages others Be there for people. Even the people that you think are the strongest people in the world, sometimes it is a facade and they have you absolutely fooled. Be there for people. Love your neighbors. Be your brother and sister's keeper. Be there for people. A lot of us think also that, older people don't have feelings, blah, blah, blah. They've been around forever. Some people, for some reason, feel like old people were burdens, things like that. They all used to be us. They all used to be the people that we are today. They all used to be those people, the way that we feel lonely, the way that we, want or miss things or, are looking for things. They were those same people, and they still are. They still have those same exact thoughts. So please, people, respect and treat your elderly the way that you yourselves want to be treated, because they have been there. They are still those people. But for some reason, human beings, we get in our mind that they're not like that anymore. They don't have those thoughts, but they absolutely do. I know my grandmother, for one, she is very, very lonely. And some people, sometimes it's hard to get in with some people. It's hard to get in with them. You can offer them anything in the world, offer them to come stay with you, offer them, many things, and they'll turn it down constantly because of they're so comfortable in what they're in. And some people are comfortable in their misery. That is hard to get people out of. Some people are so comfortable in their misery, and some people are so comfortable in their loneliness, even though they will cry and be sad and so desperate about that situation, about their loneliness. They're so comfortable in it. It is hard to get them out of that. It is hard to break them from that. And some people it never will happen. But even in my situation, with my grandmother, I just pray that God will open her mind or open her eyes to things, to accept help. She's at a point in her life where it's just time. It's time for her to let people take care of her. It's time for her to allow her family to take care of her. And it is absolutely our responsibility to take care of our elderly. It's absolutely our responsibility to take care of them. Financially or by whatever means they need it. It's absolutely our responsibility, because if they weren't here, without them, we would have never been born. We wouldn't be here. So reach out to your elderly. Reach out to your grandparents or your elder relatives, It's so important. Next topic. Growing up. I already did that one, growing up in the church. I already kind of touched on that. There's not really too much more to say about it, because you can't change it, So the Lord has healed me. God, time and 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 time again. And I could probably keep on going. Every time I'm ever sick or afflicted with anything, every time I ever have some sort of infirmity within me, the Lord has always been there, always healed me, every single time. And that blows my mind sometimes. I like to think about it, because it's like God has always been there for me, in my time of, infirmities. Throughout any sicknesses that I've had, He's always been there. And I am so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for the fact that He continues to keep me every time that I may be ever sick from anything. He always continues to keep me. And one reason for that is because I'm covered by the prayer of my mother. I'm covered by my spiritual covering. I'm covered by the faithful. And that is my mom, mainly. I'm so grateful for that. Now, this is a really big one, and I might do a separate video on this. Forgiveness. Holding on to things and not forgiving people can be, I am telling you, a massive source of misery and suffering, physically and mentally. It can make you sick. It can definitely cause you extreme depression, holding on to anger and resentment towards someone that has crossed you. As I've said before, we are all a product of someone else's damage. And those people that damaged us are a product of it. We all are. So really, we have got to forgive people for the craziness and the things that they put us through. We have to. If we don't, it will drive you crazy. It will drive you to depression. It will make you so miserable that you literally get sick, physically ill from it. Because I've been there. I have been there. I have been there. I mean, for one example, I held on to such misery, and I can't quite say truly hate, but I felt like it was hate. But if it would have truly been hate, then I wouldn't have come out of it the way that I have, for some things that went on with my father. Could he have done better? Absolutely could have. Has he learned from his mistakes? He absolutely has. And I definitely believe that he is a different person now than he was when I was younger. And I have, siblings that have to forgive and move on from that too, because they're so miserable and sad and, depressed because of the scars that they've held on to. And I believe that they honestly don't even know that that's what it's from. But it is. It is. I can attest to it because I was in the exact same shoes as they are. I can absolutely attest to it. You got to forgive people. I know it says, forgive and forget in the Bible. As human beings, the way that our mind is, we're not going to forget it. We may forget parts of it, but we're not going to forget it. But we absolutely can forgive people and move on from it. We're going to always remember the hurt and pain, but once you forgive someone, that forgiveness will help you to rid your mind of that hurt. It will allow you to rid your mind of some of those memories from that hurt and that pain. Forgiveness is so key because you can't truly love everyone if you can't forgive everyone. You really can't. You cannot do it. And how are we going to be loved by others if we can't love others properly? It's healing. It's healing to your mind, body, and soul. It really is. I'm very, very passionate about things. I'm very passionate about my beliefs. I'm very passionate about equality for all people. I'm very passionate about the fact that Black Lives Matter. There's no arguing with it. You can argue all day long, but your argument isn't right if you're not coming to the same conclusion that Black lives absolutely matter. Period. I have a lot of passions. A lot of things I'm very passionate about. And I'm very passionate about the love of God. That's one of my things is I'm very passionate about teaching the love of God. Because right now there is so much viciousness and vileness and hate from people in this world that claim to be Christians and claim to be followers of God, and that isn't true. If you are that vicious, you are absolutely not a follower of Christ, because Christ is not that kind of, person. Christ is not that kind of entity. Christ is not hate. There will be no hate in heaven. So if you're filled with that hate on earth, you will not be getting into the gates of heaven. I can guarantee you that much. Because the main commandment is to love people. That is the most important commandment. And if you're not loving people properly, you can say that you love everyone, but saying it and doing it are two different things, because I can say right now that I'm purple, but I'm clearly not. I know that's a stupid comparison, but it's still the same thing. You can say all day long that you're something that you're not. But until you are that, then it's not the truth. I genuinely do Now, some people, we're not going to like everything about all people, but we can definitely love everyone. And I really, really do love every person. I really do. And it's taken me a long time to do that, but it was God that got into my mind and helped me to be able to do it. Because that is really what I want. I want to love everyone. And it's important that we all allow ourselves to love everyone. Because if we don't, we cannot get into the gates of heaven. We cannot. We have got to love people. Love is the most important commandment. It absolutely is. We all need to be open to it. We can't pick out the things we dislike about people constantly either and love people properly. As I said before, and that may conflict with what I said before, we don't have to like everything about people, but we don't constantly have to call it out. Do we not think that people know the things that they're doing aren't likable? Absolutely. There are so many people that don't like me. There are so many people that don't love me. But you know what? I am aware of the things, mostly, of the things that people don't like about me. And I don't want to change them for them. I want to change them for God. If there's something that people don't like about me that God dislikes, I pray to God to please help me to change it. If there are things about me that people don't like and God does like, keep me the same, Lord. It's not my goal for everyone to like me. Do I want everyone to love me? Of course, because that's important that we love everyone, you know. If I didn't want everyone to love me, then I would be going against what God wants. God wants us to love everyone. Love, 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 love. Love people. Open yourselves to love. Open yourselves to forgiveness. Open yourselves to accepting others. Be passionate about things that stick to your passions, but make sure your passions line up with God. We have to come out of some of this control that the old church has put on us. We are human. God knows we're human. He understands that we're human. And the most important thing in the world is love, period. This video has gotten to the point, I see up there on my screen, you can't see it, where it's almost just as long as the other one. I'm just hoping people actually watch this one and take from it what the Lord wants them to take from it. I will make another video soon, speaking on other things. I definitely want to make another video about forgiveness and things like that. So please, everyone, if this has touched you, let me know how it's touched you, because it is encouraging to me to know that I'm doing what the Lord wants me to do, you know. If you like this video, please let me know it. I'm human. I get discouraged, you know, by things that I probably shouldn't, but, you know, I'm constantly asking the Lord to work on me. But I do want everyone to know that God loves you, absolutely loves you, and He loves you for who you are, because you're not who you should be sometimes, and Him doesn't mean that He hates you. He still loves you. And I want everyone else to know that I love you as well. I do love you. And if you need me, I'm here for you. If you need prayers, I'm here to pray for you. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to serve the Lord, and through serving the Lord, I'm here to serve my brother and sister, and that's you. I thank you, everyone, for tuning into this video for God's Inclusive Love Ministries, and I ask you to, if this has touched you and this is something that you enjoyed, please continue watching our videos. We have a Facebook page, a Twitter page, an Instagram. Do we have an Instagram? It's a really good question. I think we have an Instagram. We have a website. It's godsinclusivelove.com. Watch me be wrong. I know it's godsinclusivelove.com. I really need to educate myself on this. And then we have our YouTube page. Anyways, thank y'all for watching. God loves you. I love you. Come back again. Love y'all.